Enver Gortash, swearest thou by Balduran's blade to defend the citizens of Baldur's Gate from enemies within and without?
I swear.
Swearest thou true faith and fealty to the same, by word, deed, and decree, so that none may suffer?
I swear.
Gathered guests, grant ye consent? Enver Gortash, the council appoints you Archduke of Baldur's Gate.
Hello and welcome to my Fortnite Save the World Gortash build video. Now, without further ado, let's go. Who is Enver Gortash? Well, Archduke Enver Flim Gortash is a sleazy politician that managed to become the Archduke of Baldur's Gate. He's an inventor, he had created the Steel Watch, and he is a Bay Knight, which means he is a very tyrannical person. He forces people around him to work harder and faster. He made the Steel Watch, which are steampunk automatons that enforce as well. In fact, his whole aesthetic is steampunk and futuristic. He makes many allies and also betrays them. He was raised by uncaring parents and sold as a slave to a devil. He later became a slave owner in the future. He is the Archduke of Baldur's Gate. He lives in a castle, surrounded by traps and guards. Traps that both heal him and deal damage to enemies. He is part of the Dead Three's Chosen, and was one of the founding members. And when blessed by Bane, he gains extra health, size, and becomes a melee brawler. There's a lot more to him, but these are just the topics I want to cover for this video. The loadout. In the lead, we have Colonial Wildcat, which decreases Warcry cooldown by 38%. We have the team perk Happy Holidays, which decreases cooldowns by 40%. Steel Wool Carlos, which each elimination increases Warcry cooldown by 0.4 seconds, with a maximum of 15. And Gold Triple Ramirez, which increases Warcry duration by 3 seconds. So basically, we're trying to get a very long Warcry going right now. Assuming you get 15 eliminations, the Warcry cooldown should be around 12 seconds. So you have 12 seconds of not having the Warcry up. Now we have Special Forces Banshee, or, well, I slotted in Special Forces Jonesy because I have him, but Special Forces Banshee is the one that you will probably want. So Warcry grants 8.5% extra weapon damage and 8.5% extra movement speed. We have Crackshot, which is Mad Tidings, so basically shooting gives you more damage over time. And now, you can either choose between Breakbeat Wildcat or Survivalist Jonesy. If it is a defense mission, I would choose Breakbeat Wildcat, which does eliminating her perk when eliminating 10 enemies in 9 seconds, grants Rock and Riff. This increases damage by 50%, and it decays over time. Now, if it's not a defense mission, I would recommend Survivalist Jonesy, which basically means eliminating enemies gives you health. Hover Turrets, because of his tech, has gadgets, and you should have Adrenaline Rush to mimic his second phase health gain. Now for defenders, I would recommend 2 Assault Rifle Defenders and 1 Shotgun Defender. Now, if you want, you can do 3 Assault Rifle Defenders, that's totally acceptable. As you'll see, the Defenders actually benefit from Warcry, and Warcry increases damage and fire rate, so that's why Rifles are pretty good with it. But the Double Boiler is also really good as well. Now, here's why I choose Colonial Wildcat and Crackshot. So, even though Steel Wool Carlos does get more uptime on Warcry, Colonial Wildcat is more consistent and doesn't require you to eliminate husks to keep it active. So basically, in order to maximize Steel Wool Carlos, you have to be eliminating a lot of husks. Now, Carlos is better for crowd control, but Wildcat is better for taking down mini-bosses with your team. Now, the main deciding factor is because Colonial Wildcat has more health, and health is always a good thing. Now, Crackshot thematically fits because Gortash was raised as a slave and then became a massive slave owner. Every bad decision spiraled until he became very effective at his job, but locked in a single path. When you have Crackshot, you deal more damage with each shot, but you cannot switch off your weapon unless you want your buffs to be removed. So, in other words, you become very effective, but locked in a single path, just like Gortash was. For a first weapon, let's use the Duet. Now, Gortash's things have a steampunk theme, so we're going with that. This is a steampunk assault rifle with a very, very high magazine. We put a mag size perk in there, and magazine size is 105. Now, Crackshot only stacks up to 50 stacks, so basically, for more than half of the shots, you'll be doing like 50% more damage, which is insane. Now, the Warcry actually gives a higher fire rate, which this thing has a low fire rate, so Warcry is very good with this. It has a damaging cloud of steam, has a 6th perk, which basically gives you a lot of crowd control, and you can poke it with whichever element fits the theme. Or you can just keep it on energy, it doesn't really break this build. Now, as you can see in the bottom right corner, the stats are significantly higher compared to the schematic. That is because this is the max Crackshot plus Warcry theme. You can see the fire rate is higher, the damage is higher, just higher DPS in total. Now, this isn't even including Great Pete, Wildcat, Rock and Riff. This is just the survivalist one, so yeah, if you add Rock and Riff, this would be even higher. Weapon 2, the Double Boiler. So as stated before, Gortash's things has a steampunk theme, and this is a steampunk shotgun with very, very high damage. Has a damaging cloud of steam, 6th perk, for a bit of crowd control, and you can poke it with whichever element fits. Now, the reason these two are really good for defenders is that if they eliminate one enemy, which defenders often do, they spawn a cloud of steam, so any other enemies that walk in that area will also get eliminated. So it's really good for crowd clearing. Weapon 3, the Baron. Gortash's things have a steampunk theme. Now, this is just for movement speed. Now, feel free to hold this out because it's steampunk, Gortash is steampunk. And this is just to get around the map quicker. You gotta be quick with things, you know. It's mainly used for utility, don't actually use this for damage. Playstyle/strategy. Make other people build a defense for you. You are Gortash. You are above them. Most of the time, their build sucks anyway. Just look to the right, you can see their build. It sucks. Now, keep your friends close so they benefit from Warcry. You should constantly spam Warcry. But you don't have to be like a good teammate or anything. You can still grief them, you can still betray them. But yeah, Warcry, specifically. Spam. Now, please start the mission early, every time.
Now, it's really time we were going.
Nico was apparently very excited to start the mission.
Orin and I can wait for you no longer. The plan proceeds.
I'm over here trying to finish trap placement while the defense is already running.
The distractions have been yours. You said it was under control.
Thanks, Nico.
Other people want to waste your time. They're like incompetent troglodytes. They really just exist for the sole purpose of lifting you up. You are Gortash, you are exceptional. They should be lifting you up. You should not have to wait for them. Now, ask your other teammates to not have defenders. You should have all 3 defenders around you. Because you have the Warcry, you will make them benefit from it. Tame a mad dog and have her fight for you.
A mad dog understands the yank of the leash and the hand of its master, but it cannot be an equal.
And lastly, if this is a defense mission, make sure to have healing pads around. This covers healing. As you know, Gortash likes to have a lot of traps in his office, and some traps they even heal him. Locker appearance. Now for the skin, I chose Lorenzo the Dashing. You can see it looks pretty similar to Gortash here. The back bling, choose the Griffin's Talon with the Midnight Sentinel style. It kind of looks like the portrait of Bane, and kind of looks like some portraits in Worm's Rock. For the harvesting tool, I just did the combat knife because Gortash does have a knife. And then for the spanner, I found one that looks like the fist of Bane, the black hand of Bane. You can see, so that's why I made it black. Alternate build number 1. Now, only use this build if you don't have teammates. Use the same weapons as before, but make sure they are energy. And the Baron should be triple armor instead of triple movement speed. Your job is to spam gadgets, abilities, and healing pads. This represents the inventor part of Gortash, because Cyberclops has a bunch of damaging abilities. He has the Teddy, Shock Tower, and Seismic Smash. They all deal energy damage, and energy damage is buffed, which is why you should use energy on your weapons. Now I have Pressing Charges and Fragment Generation. These are for the Fragment abilities, which is Shock Tower and Teddy. So this will help it deal even more damage and have a lower cooldown. Space Technology, Azealia Clark for more ability damage. Just a nice 15% extra damage for all your abilities. It's good. Survivalist for survivability. Pretty simple. And Gadgeteer to spam abilities more. Now, alternate build number 2. Only use this if this is the Outlander Power Hour, because the Outlander Power Hour gives 0 energy for anti-material charge. So basically, you can spam it. Now, this represents his Avatar of Tyranny mode, where he becomes blessed by Bane and becomes a melee brawler. Becomes a lot bigger, gets power, but that's only in specific scenarios where he is blessed by Bane. Like, this is only in specific scenarios when it's the Outlander Power Hour. Now, you want to constantly spam the anti-material charge and eliminate enemies. Now, Bloodfinder AC in the lead for extra anti-material damage, and lots of healing and survivability heroes in support. I found that burgers don't actually work. They don't actually seem to spawn with this ability. So that's why I don't have burger buff here. Conclusion. Use build number 1 for missions with others. Use build number 2 for missions by yourself. And use build number 3 for the Outlander Power Hour. Now, I would avoid missions with Smokescreen, as the Damaging Cloud of Steam 6 perk kind of gets countered by Smokescreen, so I'd avoid missions with that modifier. Now, there was so much you can do with Gortash that I didn't cover. I just covered a small fraction of what I could have covered. Gortash is a lot more things, but personally, I feel like this is a pretty awesome build, and enjoy having an excuse to be mean to people. So, thank you for watching, and be on the lookout for my next video. Goodbye!